Hey guys, it's Friday morning, 1 o'clock or so. I'm getting ready to head over to the MGM and see if there's any good games running right now. And then I'm going to be going down to Virginia Beach today. And then I'll be going to Farmville for the weekend and Christmas to spend some time with my family before coming back up here probably on Tuesday or Wednesday, perhaps at the latest. Part of the reason I'm going down to Virginia Beach is I have some business I have to take care of, but also I do have some Christmas gifts to drop off for some of my good friends that are down there. So I'll show you what these gifts are right now. First up are a couple of Always Sunny in Philadelphia pillows of Mac and Charlie. This is for one of my friends that really like the show, and I can't blame them. This is one of the best comedies I think I've ever seen. Not as good as The Office, but pretty close. Next up is a Litecoin shirt for one of my friends that I got into crypto. Even though we got absolutely raffle stomped in crypto today, I'm still a big believer in it, and he is too, and he especially likes Litecoin. This next present, I'm hanging it up, but it's a fleece blanket, Game of Thrones Daenerys, for one of my friends that is a big Game of Thrones fan. Great show, great character. I really think she is going to like this gift. In fact, I'm pretty sure that she is. And this last gift is an Aaron Rodgers action figure, whatever. That's for a delusional Packers fan. Poor kid. Poor kid. All right, it's off to the MGM. Alright guys, so the MGM was sort of a bust. There were some games running, but they didn't look particularly good. I didn't really feel like sitting down and starting a session at like 2 o'clock in the morning or whatever. So we actually went down to Lynchburg, spent the night down there. Well, spent Saturday night down there also. Now it's Sunday, Christmas Eve, and I'm like 15 minutes away from Mom and Dad's house or so here in Farmville. So I'm just going to spend Christmas Eve and then tomorrow down here as well. And then probably head back up to the MGM area on Tuesday. At least that's my plan right now. So I spent all of last week down in Orlando with 3 poker friends of mine. We had a place down there for free, so we spent the whole week down there, didn't have to pay for it, which was nice. It was pretty much a break-even trip. We did finish up a little bit, but we played in Orange City, I think, one night, and then played at Tampa Hard Rock a couple nights. And the Orange City was a very soft game. It was a different kind of soft from MGM. There was literally no 3-betting pre-flop if it wasn't by me or by David. 0 3-betting. Not one single 3-bet by anybody other than me or one of the guys I came down with. So it was a lot of seeing flops. Pretty much everybody would see a flop for a single raise. We were able to work up like a stack from 600, about 1500 at the peak. And then when we cashed out, it was right around, I want to say maybe like 1200 or so. We played some interesting hands. I didn't write anything down. There was one spot though that I'll go over that's just more like for in general how I play certain types of boards in limp pots. So what happens in this hand is it's either limp to us and we're either in the small blind or the big blind. I don't exactly remember which one. If we're in the big blind, it definitely gets checked to us post flop. But we have ace, queen, 8, 8 with the suited ace. And we either complete or we check the option. I don't exactly remember which it is. The flop comes down ace, 7, 4, rainbow. We have a backdoor nut flush draw, top pair, and backdoor blockers. So I think we're in the big blind. I think the small blind checks to us, and these are perfect situations where I like to lead out. I think leading out just is a lot better than just checking, because you're gonna win so much more leading out and taking the initiative. You could already have the best hand and just be betting for some protection, some value. And if someone has a better hand, you have a lot of backdoor equity in the form of your blockers and in the form of a possible nut flush draw. So I think it's 7 ways to the flop, so there's like $35 in the pot or so. I believe we make it like 20 or 25. I don't exactly remember the exact bet. The guy on our left, for sure, we've already played a couple pots with him. He He already caught us bluffing once, though. Okay, so this already did happen. We tried bluffing him in a pot, and he caught us. So he makes the call, but literally the hand before this, I think it was David who bluffed him on the river, and he folded a set on a straight board. I think it was like a 4 straight too, and he folded a set, and he showed it, or maybe it was a flush board. I don't exactly remember, but I remember him showing the set and not being able to call. So he calls on this ace-7-4 rainbow board, and it folds around, everybody else folds. So now we're going to the turn, ace-7-4. So the turn is a 5, does not bring in our flush draw, but now we have 2 8s in our hand, so now we're going to use these 8s as blockers. So we're first to act again. There's probably about $80 or so in the pot. I mean, I don't exactly remember what the pot was, but it's right around $80. So we bet $60. I remember the turn bet. We bet $60, which was a pretty meaty bet. And he's like hemming and hawing, basically acting very similarly to how he played the last hand, and I think he's already at this point saying like it's happening again. In fact, I'm pretty sure on this turn bet he says it's happening again. So he's got a set. In fact, he says he's got another set, and he calls. So I'm like, okay, well, if you got a set, then you better fold to my big river bet is what I'm thinking. So it's a perfect river card, I would say. So it was ace-7-4, 5, offsuit 6 on the river. So now there's a 4 straight out there. We have the 8 blocker still. Perfect barrel card. I don't think I ever really pot in almost any circumstance, but I think I actually did pot in this circumstance, actually. Just to put on maximum pressure, and just because he already pretty much announced that he had a set. So we make it pot. He's very disappointed. He again hems and haws around and says he can't believe he's this unlucky. 2 hands in a row. Turns over. I don't remember what set he had. Did he have I don't know if he flopped it or turned it or whatever, but I don't even remember if he showed it. He just ends up mucking his hand. Says he mucked another set, and we ended up taking it down. So not a super interesting hand, but just in general, if it's a limped pot and I flop like a top pair type of hand with backdoor equity and it's checked to me, I usually just take the aggressive lead on those spots. Like, I just think you're going to win way more often just betting out and getting people to fold their equity, or getting them to fold better possibly just by barreling. And then you can always, depending on how the board runs out, you can always, if you get showdown value, I mean, you technically have showdown value with top pair, but depending on how the board runs out, you can check call. You can just have a lot more options available to you by leading out in those type of spots. Alright guys, we just got back from the MGM, and it was a pretty quick session, 2.5 hours, plus like 6:35 I think. Nothing super interesting. A lot of these sessions is just not really interesting, at least like the hands to me aren't interesting. It's just like bluff catching in a lot of spots, and like just value betting, and just there was really no interesting hands from this session. We got most of our chips from just getting it all in pre-flop with double suited aces. We had ace, ace, queen, 6, spades, and clubs, and we got all in against. He's like a younger Asian guy with glasses, and I mean I feel bad because like this guy, I've seen this guy have like $2,000 and $3,000 stacks like time and time again. Like I can't even count how many times this guy's like had a 2K plus stack and gone busto in a relatively short amount of time. He's super aggressive, super bluffy. I mean, I feel bad because this guy just goes bust all the time. He ended up busting this table too, but we got it in with him pre-flop. Flop was like king, jack, low. So we flopped, we have our aces and we have a gut shot. And turn was a jack, paired the jack, and then the river was an ace, so it gave us top boat. And the way, I mean, he didn't show what he had, but the way he held like 2 cards in his hand and then like threw them down, like the way he did it, kind of like when someone holds up like 2 cards like that, I mean, he probably had, I mean, he definitely could have had like a king's full there, or like king jack or something. I'm not exactly sure what he had, but so we ended up getting like, it was like $1,000 pot. So that was most of our chips right there, but we had made some bluffs earlier that got through, but like nothing and no big pots or anything like that. Just really no interesting hands today to speak of. Now, what I'm going to try and do is if there's any interesting hands, I'm definitely going to report them. But crypto right now is going crazy, and I have a lot more money invested in crypto than I do in poker. And right now, with the volatility in the crypto markets, you can make a lot more money too. So my focus is now shifting a little bit from poker and more onto crypto, and doing a lot more analysis of crypto and looking at different cryptocurrencies and possibly some ICOs. So I'm going to be putting the poker not on hold per se. I mean, I still am going to be playing. I'm going to try to play at least every day. Before I was doing 2 sessions, one in the afternoon, one at night. I've only been doing 1 session when I'm in town now, a day, and it's been a little bit on the shorter side. So like today was 2.5 hours. So I'm going to try to do at least 1 2-hour to 3-hour session every day, but crypto is definitely my focus right now. It's definitely where I'm making most of my money, and I have a lot more money invested in it, so I've got to be a lot more careful with just the volatility that's going on right now. Bitcoin just broke out of this trading range it was in here, so it's definitely going to be retesting the highs, and you have a lot of the altcoins also making big moves, so I'm going to be focused on that. If I get any interesting PLO hands, of course we will talk about them. I love talking about interesting hands. It's just that they don't show up that often at these 1-2 games unless you're super deep or your opponent's super deep. Like when there's 2 deep stacks, then you get into some interesting spots post flop. It hasn't been the case too much. If I'm deep stacked, you have to be deep stack, and then the opponent has to be deep stack, and you guys have to be involved in the hand. So it's just the way things are working out right now. Have not had too many interesting hands to report, but if I do, I will make sure to report them. So for now, I'm going to go ahead and check the crypto markets. I hope everybody had a Merry Christmas, and hopefully I have some interesting hands to report to you guys soon. All right, talk to you later.